please come on in and have a seat. I just have to finish pulling up your medical records. As you are, of course, aware, Dr. Stevens retired last year, and I am her replacement, so we've had all of your medical records transferred over. I just need to pull them up and look at a little bit of the information before we get to the exam today, okay? Okay. Now, it looks like the last time that you were in for an exam, you were exposed to kryptonite, it says. Is that correct? Okay. And if you don't mind my asking, what exactly is kryptonite? I'm not really familiar with that substance. Okay, so it's broken pieces from your home planet. Okay, I'm just going to make a little note of that on your file so that we have that for future reference, okay? That way, you know, if someone else has to access your chart for any reason, they'll know exactly what that substance is. So, now it says that you react very badly to kryptonite. Okay, and what are some of the symptoms that you have? You tend to lose most of your powers. Okay, and how often, you know, on average, would you say that you are exposed to kryptonite? Okay. So it sounds like it's not a very common occurrence. Yeah, you kind of try to stay away from things that lessen your superpowers. Yeah, that seems like a pretty smart way to go about it. So, why have you come in for an exam today? It says on your chart here that you've requested the same kind of exam as the last time you were exposed to kryptonite. Okay, so were you recently exposed to kryptonite again? And when exactly was that? Okay. So a couple weeks, and I'll of course run through the tests, and we'll check, you know, all your superpowers and make sure everything's in good working order. But have you yourself noticed anything, certain powers that are out of whack or missing or anything like that? If you're doing a little self-diagnosis, how would you say you are now that it's been a few weeks since the previous kryptonite exposure? No lasting symptoms that you're aware of? Okay. Okay, well, why don't we begin the exam? We're going to start by testing your ocular lasers. So we're going to do this one eye at a time. So why don't you start by closing your eyes and then opening just your right eye and engage the right ocular laser. If you could aim a little further that way, I'd rather keep myself intact during the exam, okay? So just engage the right ocular laser. Very good. And now your left ocular laser. Very good. Right laser again. Okay. And then the left laser once again. And then left laser again. And right laser again. And left laser again. And finally right laser again. Okay, great. Let me just write down the results of that. Yeah, I did a little switch up on you there in the middle. It's just good sometimes to throw something that maybe you're not expecting to make sure that your ocular lasers are available on command. So that's why I kind of changed the pattern there in the middle, and your eyes responded very well. So it looks like each single laser is working very well on its own. So now we're going to do both of your eyes at the same time to make sure that both eye lasers are working in coordination with each other, okay? So if you want to turn to your right, yep, and then engage both your ocular lasers at the same time. Very good. And then to your left and engage. Okay. And now back to your right and engage. Very good. And one more time on your left and engage. Okay. And then let's go left again. Very good. And one more time to the right. Okay, excellent. So your ocular lasers appear to be in excellent working order. Just put that in your file. And I think I'm also going to make just a little note that we need to repaint the walls. Okay, so now we're going to test your X-ray vision, and how we're going to do that is I'm going to show you a series of numbers on my fingers, but I'm going to be blocking them with my other hand. So you'll have to tell me what you see through this hand, okay? So now, how many fingers am I holding up? Okay, very good. And how many now? Excellent. And now? Okay, great. And now? And one more. Okay, that's great. So, looks like both of your eyes are working very well together. So now we're going to test them one at a time. This is normally the part of the exam where someone would cover one eye with their hand, but obviously since this is an X-ray exam, that's pretty much pointless. So what I'm going to ask you to do is close your eyes, just one of them. Yep, close your left eye. And if I'm not mistaken, that will disengage the X-ray vision in that eye. Am I correct? Okay, great. I thought I read that in your file here. So, okay, so left eye closed, right eye open, and now tell me, what numbers do you see on the fingers behind the front hand here? So, how many fingers am I holding up? Very good. And how about now? Okay. And now. And now. And one more. Okay, excellent. That eye looks to be in perfect X-ray health. And now for the other eye. I want to close the open one and open the closed one. Just switch them around a little bit, and I'll use this hand to make it a little easier. So, how many fingers do you see through my hand? Okay, very good. Now. And now. Excellent. And now. Okay. Quite excellent. Looks like both of your eyes work well on their own and together, so seems like your x-ray vision is in perfect health. Alright, so now we're going to conduct the hearing test. Given your natural wide range of hearing, I have set up a test. I'm going to push a few buttons on my keyboard, and every time I do that, the little chime will get further and further away. So we're going to start in this room, and then I'll activate one in the next room, and the next room, and the next room, and the next city, and so on. And just tell me if you can hear those chimes, okay? So, activating chime in this room. Let me know when you hear it. Okay, great. Okay, and farther out. Very good. And going farther. And going even farther. And then we're going to jump really far with this one, so let me know when you hear it. Okay, so you hear it, but there's a little bit of a lag, it seems like. Let's jump a little bit farther and see what happens. Kind of about the same. Now, I am going to give you the benefit of the doubt because we're quite a distance out now, and it could just be taking the sound waves longer to travel back to our office here. So you do seem to be hearing everything fine, so it could just be the time it takes for the waves to travel. So let's just try a couple more going even further out, okay? Okay. And okay, and let's do one more just to make sure that it really is all working good. Okay, great. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's just the time it takes the sound waves to get here, which is why there's a little bit of a delay between when the chime goes off and when you're hearing it. I mean, we're a very long ways away from this office with these chimes now, so I think your hearing is in good working order. Okay, and now we're going to do the strength test. So we're going to start with the easiest things and then move up to the more difficult things. So why don't we start with just, the classic, give my hand a little squeeze there. Just a little squeeze. Let's go a little lighter than that, okay? Okay, great. And now, over on the table next to you, there are a few objects of differing size. I want you to start with the smallest and bend that in half, and then work your way up to the largest, and let me know if you have any trouble with any of those, okay? So, starting with the smallest, yep. Just bend that right in half. Okay. And then move up to the next size. Give that one a little bend. Very good. Okay. And now up to the next size. And you should probably notice a little more resistance in the metal of this one because it's getting quite a bit thicker. Okay, great. Looks like you didn't have any trouble bending that one either. Am I correct? Okay. Now why don't you move up to the next size. Give that one a bend. All right, great. No trouble with that one either? No, but you notice that there is a little more resistance in that one? Well, I think that's natural given the size of that, so, okay. And now why don't you finally just grab the last one there and give that one a bend. Okay, great. Looks like you were able to do that without exerting too much effort. Just mild to moderate effort. Okay. Well, that's perfectly natural for someone of your ability level. So, mark that down. All right, and now I think it would be a good idea to test your speed. So why don't you run to the door and then run back here to where you are now, okay? And then we can check and make sure that your speed is working, okay? So go ahead and do that. Whenever you're ready. You already did it? Okay, I'm sorry, it was so fast I couldn't even see it. So, seems like your speed is working well, but how about you slow it down just a notch or two so I can visibly see it, okay? So why don't you run back and forth to the door again a couple of times. A little bit slower this time. Okay, yep, now I can see it. Looks like your speed is just as fast as ever. So, just mark that down. And do you notice any issues with your speed? Does it seem any slower to you, or does it feel like it takes more exertion than normal, anything like that? No, nothing that you've noticed? Okay, excellent. And now, for the final test, we want to test your flying, so why don't you just fly around the room here for a few minutes and let me see if it looks like you're level in the air and not wobbling at all, okay? So just give that a go and float up a little bit, okay? Okay, and then come back down. Perfect. Well, your flying looks like it's in very good form, so I'm just going to write that down. And again, does it feel all right to you when you're flying? You don't feel heavier than normal or have a harder time getting off the ground, or is it difficult to sustain flight for long distances, or is everything pretty much feel like it's back to normal, back to the pre-kryptonite levels? Mostly back to normal? Now, when you say mostly, is there anything that's not quite back to normal? You don't feel as though you fly quite as straight as usual? Okay, well, let me make a note of that. So I assume it was worse after the initial exposure to the kryptonite. Is that correct? Okay. And so it is getting better. It's just not quite as straight as it should be. Okay, well, I think that's something that we'll just keep an eye on. Why don't you come back in, say, a week or two, and we can run the flying test again. It does sound like it's kind of clearing up on its own, and all your other powers seem to have returned to their normal levels. So I believe that your flying will as well. It just might take a little bit longer. So yeah, why don't we have you come back again in a week or two, and we'll run the flying test again and see if it has improved. And if not, there are a few other tests we can run to help determine what the underlying cause might be, and then we can recommend a treatment option should that become necessary. But I do think that the best course of action for now would be to just wait a week or two and see if it clears up on its own. Why don't I just schedule you in for another appointment? What would work for you? Next week or the week after? The week after? Okay. Let me see. I have an opening on Wednesday at 3 p.m. Does that work with your schedule? Unless there's a global disaster, that should be fine. Okay, great. Okay, so I will see you in 2 weeks on the Wednesday appointment. In the meantime, while you're flying, try to pay close attention to, how straight you are and see if that does self-correct. Even if it does self-correct, I would like to see you again at that appointment in 2 weeks, just to make sure that everything is all good, okay? But hopefully that'll be self-corrected by that time, and there won't be any need for additional treatment, okay? So thank you for coming in today, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks, all right? Have a good flight home.